What's going on, guys? Thomas Heinen Fishing back here for another video, and today we're going to be discussing some YO-ZURI fishing line. Sorry if you can't hear me right now, it's pretty windy here in Kansas, but I just got a new shipment in and I was wanting to discuss a few things from previous and new line that YO-ZURI has come out with. I'm going to first get started with the YO-ZURI Hybrid. This was their first line that I have thrown, and it's a copolymer, so it's not your standard fluorocarbon as you would look for bass fishing. The copolymer, what it is it's monofilament coated in fluorocarbon, so it's just a cheaper kind of line that's still great, but you know, it has its own uses for certain conditions and it has its own place in the fishing field. So this is their old stuff they came out with a while back. Not really old, but by old I mean about 2-3 years ago. It's called Top Knot Mainline. This has been my go-to line for 2 to 3 years now, and I haven't had any issues with it. The only issues I've had are my, personal issues, by not changing out my line when I should, and, not retying after setting the hook a few times. So there's a lot of self-errors that I've had using this line, but I don't think it was ever the line's fault, because this line has been awesome. I've won many tournaments on this line. I've caught my personal best on this line, and this has been just my go-to all-around line. As some of you guys may know, YO-ZURI just came out with some T-7 premium fishing line. So what this stuff is it's supposed to be abrasion resistant, and it's supposed to have, it says a virtually invisible. So what that means is I think it's clearer line. So I think it's like more translucent in the water. It has low memory as well as the top knot. I haven't felt or thrown this line yet, so I can't really compare the two until I've tried it. But from hearing from the pros and hearing from the guys at YO-ZURI that I talked to, this stuff is the cat's meow. This stuff is supposed to be just the best stuff you can fish with in 2021. I've thrown a lot of brands out there, and for the past 2 years, I've been dedicated to YO-ZURI. The knot strength on this stuff is supposed to be insane. It's super durable, it's thin diameter, and you can't beat the price on the top knot. I'm not sure what this runs, but it will be in stores soon. It is in Bass Pro on the shelves, but it's not in Academy or Shields yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be at Shields, and I know it's gonna be at Academy. I just don't know when. But I have a few tournaments coming up. I can't wait to try this. And they also have the Super Braid they have here. This is in camo. They have high vis yellow, they have high vis blue, and then they have moss green. And personally, I like the high vis blue and the high vis yellow more, just because I can see it a lot better. The camo is nice, but when you're fishing lakes, especially early in the morning, it's dark out, you can't see your line. And when you're fishing finesse, it's kind of nice having that line indicator. If you're fishing slow like I do when it comes to finesse, I watch my line to let me know if I have a bite or not. So that stuff, it really stands out, and you can watch your line jump, and you can watch it in the wind. It's very easy to see. So I love high vis line, but they have great colors. This is their new camo color. I love this kind too, but I have my own preferences between the two, so I'd go with high vis yellow personally. But that's the review I have on these new lines. Like I said, this is copolymer. I've used it for quite a while, and it's great for crankbaits. I still use it for crankbaits and top water, but this stuff here is awesome. I don't know if I told you the line sizes yet, but they have this in 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, and 25. While this stuff they have 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 20. So now that you got a 25-pound test, that's going to be nice when you're flipping cypress trees, or if you get on south, Louisiana, and you're fishing heavier cover. So that stuff is going to be awesome, especially with it being abrasive resistant. What that means is if you're casting over a log and your line nicks a big branch or a big rock, it won't nick as bad. This line I haven't really had that much issue with, but I've had it in the past. I noticed if you come across a branch, it gets real frail, and you can sometimes pull it and it snaps. But that's with pretty much any line you can buy. I don't know how that is, but apparently this stuff is just killer. You can pitch this under docks, pilings, whatever. You can throw it through the roughest stuff and it's supposedly not going to be, you know, it's not supposed to fray it at all. So definitely the big plus for the 2021 season having this in your boat. I just spooled all my line on my reels with this right here, and I'm half tempted to go in there and re-spool it with all this T7, but it's all fresh line and it's never failed me yet, so I'm just going to run it until I need to put some of this on. I do have a few reels that this needs to go on, but I'm going to try to test it in 2 weeks when I have my little local tournament, and then I go down to the Bassmaster Open on Lewis Smith Lake, and then I turn around, come home, fish one or two weekends, and then head back down to Alabama to fish Pickwick. So I'm going to be traveling a lot this spring. So fishing a lot means changing line a lot, and I changed my line a lot when it came to top knot, not because it was bad, but because I just love changing line. It gives me something to do before a tournament, and I always like the feeling of being fresh when you go on the water. But with this new stuff, supposedly you don't have to change it as quick. It's supposed to last a lot longer. So I'm going to leave a little clip here that YO-ZURI came out with discussing the T7 and what the pros have to say, and then I'll close this video up.
Hey guys, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro Brandon Card. I want to show you guys our new premium fluorocarbon line, YO-ZURI T7 fluorocarbon.
This is T7. This is high-end, top-of-the-line fluorocarbon. This stuff is fantastic. I've been using it all year. It's finally coming to market for y'all to get y'all's hands on it. This line's great, abrasion resistant, and it's really strong. You know, if you're pitching or flipping, I did a lot of that at the Mississippi River this year using the T7. You could flip into the trees, flip into the bushes, lay downs, anything like that. You didn't have to worry about getting those fish out because the abrasion resistance and the strength of this fluorocarbon. This is great stuff, super high-end fluorocarbon.
A lot of fluorocarbons lose something to gain something. What I mean by that is they might cast better, but they have a little stretch to them. Or they might tie great knots, but they're not as strong. Things like that. Well, this T7 is the perfect mixture to get the best characteristics in all the concepts fluorocarbon offers.
This is a smaller diameter line than other fluorocarbon lines out there on the market. So, you know, you're going to have a smaller line. The fish can't see it, but it's also going to be just as strong. So, you know, that's what I'm looking for out here on the Bassmaster Elite Series. You know, a lot of times we have really clear water that we're fishing, and, you know, I like to downsize my line. I've caught some giant smallmouth on 8-pound T7, and just, you know, didn't even have to retie, you know, fish after fish after fish.
I've used T7 from 6-pound test up north in the gin clear waters, catching 4 and 5 pound smallmouth. Down in Florida, 20-pound test, you know, flipping pads and stuff during the spawn, hard baits, a lot of jerk baits with it. I guess I've used it on about every bait imaginable this year, and it has yet to fail me. It's just some of the finest fishing line I've ever used.
I've been really impressed with how this performs around docks. Other fluorocarbon lines in the past, definitely if you just nick a dock piling or, you know, hook up way up under a dock, the chances of landing those fish go way down. With T7, just been super impressed with it.
I've used it from 10 to 20, and this stuff is almost impossible to break. It doesn't have hardly any memory at all. It's very smooth, long casting, nearly invisible in the water, not a lot of stretch, so you can really get a good hook set on the fish from a long ways out when you're making a really long cast with a football jig or Carolina rig, whatever it may be you're throwing.
You know, with this being a premium fluorocarbon, it's got great knot strength. You're not going to have to worry about any damage to the line with knots, so you got great knot strength. You don't have to worry about anything on the hook set. Great manageability, great strength, good abrasion resistance, all around really, really top end line.
I mean, a lot of the tournaments this year, I would use a bait, you know, throw something all practice long, and I wouldn't even re-spool it going into the tournament because there was just no need to, especially on things like a jerkbait. A lot of times on a jerkbait, you have little nick places in your line from where you're jerking that jerkbait all the time. Just constantly that stress of that line coming through that rod tip. With this stuff, I didn't see that at all this spring or this summer. I'm very impressed with it. Like I said, The castability and the strength of this line is second to none. So be looking for this to come out. When it does, be sure to get your hands on it. It's going to be at a very affordable price, worth every penny. You're going to love it.
Alright guys, well that's going to do it for me today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you would, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions at all, send them my way. I'll be sure to answer them. You can either inbox me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you like. I'll put my social media here at the end so you guys can follow me and message me if you'd like. I'll also put my email, so if you guys have any questions that don't do social media, you can shoot me an email. But if you guys have a new video you want to see, let me know, and I'll be sure to try to do it. I just came out with my new chatterbait video. I think it was about 3 or 4 days ago. It was my favorite chatterbait trailers, and before that I discussed the Z-Man unboxing and the Bassmaster Opens. So I'm hoping to have a lot more video content coming out. I'm going to try to film as much as I can in these recent tournaments. But until next time, we'll see you soon, and hopefully we'll be fishing.
We'll be right back.